thank you for accepting the invitation.
No problem. Thank you.
Right. Perfect. So, we would love to more about you and that you have been doing.
Well, right now I am editing and producing two TV shows. One is called Secret Celebrity Renovation. It's for one of the networks here, ABC, and another one is called Christopher Kimball's Milk Street TV as a cooking show. So I'm working on that. I'm also pitching a show, another cooking show that my agent and I and my partners are pitching to get on television as well. So I've been a little busy little beaver lately. So I've been working on that. Honestly, it's amazing you haven't found me. I have a whole page on IMDb that it's like shows just about everything I've worked on, and I've been doing this for 30 years, so it's I have quite a lot of like experience under my belt when it comes to television and filmmaking. So
All right. So this is something, amazing to hear it from you that what people are doing nowadays. Can you please give me just a moment? I'll just turn it off. There is a background noise from my side. I'll just switch it off.
okay,
Thank you for the patience. Right.
no problem.
So awesome. So, I really would love to know that what do you think? What are the topics that we can talk? I'm sure I'm gonna ask you the questions related to the storytelling because while I was listening to you, the only thing that I heard because as you mentioned something related to the Star Wars as well, I just missed some of the parts over there in that session. So you shared
Mhm.
something related to the art of the storytelling, right? So I was like, this is something what I really would love to talk on the show.
Yeah, well, definitely the storytelling. Stories all come from the heart, and everybody has stories. They all tell stories, and it's within our not only in our nature, but it's in our all of our cultures. We all tell stories, and you basically have to discover what you want to say to the world, and it comes from your heart, and it's all about telling something that's truthful to somebody else, and that's a story. That's storytelling. The idea of being able to create it as a visual medium. You're taking that thought in your head, which is all pictures. We all think in pictures. So you take the picture that's in your head and you copy that into the world. You put it into the world. So there's something that will represent that thought in your head, and you videotape it. You draw it. You could do an animation. It doesn't have to be real things. It could be a drawn image of what you're talking about. But then you're basically building the story structure. And the story structure is the beginning, the middle, and the end. And in experimental, it doesn't have to be in any order. But the whole idea is you're telling something that you want to tell to the world, and you want to tell it. Um, you want to tell it. You just want to basically anything that comes out from your heart that you want to be able to tell to somebody else. It's like tell your friend, your good friends is like, I love hanging out with you. You're my best friend, and this is what we do as best friends. So you're hanging out with each other. Going out on for lunch. Having a coffee at a cafe. Playing soccer. I don't know, whatever you need, but you show it. You show all these things, and you're basically creating a story. And it's like it's all, and it could be images that you found, images that you shot, and you don't even have to have words. If you have the images, that's almost enough. That's almost enough. And it's like and it's basically you're just giving that energy from your heart and showing it to the world, and that's storytelling to me.
All right. So as you mentioned over there that storytelling is something that comes from the heart. On there's one more thing that people practice it to share the story, right? To tell the story, to narrate a story.
Mhm.
So, what do you think? What is your point on speaking something like impromptu speaking, impromptu storytelling, and then storytelling that is something prepared storytelling. So what are your views on these two topics?
Well, I mean, to me, storytelling is storytelling, whether it's improvisation or whether it's a scripted thing or whether or even whatever. It's like it's still you're telling a story. You know, sometimes going out to shoot a documentary, you have a certain idea of what the story is in your head as you're shooting it, but something may happen as you're shooting it that's completely different than what you thought about. And so then you pivot and you go toward that and you're creating that story to tell the world. And really the magic is not so much in the shooting of it. It is because you're creating something that you see in your head, you're putting it onto a medium that other people can see. But it's also the editing. You know, it's editing is timing, and editing is you're basically redirecting what you did out in the field when you shot, and you're putting it to a structure. And that structure is what the people are going to see. So it's like, you know, a person walks into a room and they walk up to the camera and he looks around. I want to see his face looking at it, but then I want to see what he's looking at. What is he looking at? What does he see? Does he like it? Let's see what his reaction is to what he sees on the screen. A man walks into a room. He looks around and he sees a kitten and he smiles and he pets the kitten purrs, and he smiles and walks away. That's a story. It's not an engaging story, but it's something that happens. It's action. And create something like that. Create something, you know, it's all about seeing and reacting. And that's really what it is. It's seeing and reacting.
All right. So here's the other thing while you were sharing, the one question popped up in my mind that now we see we have the creators everywhere, right? The video creators and the content creators everywhere. I would say in every home, whosoever is possessing that particular phone in their hand, right? So
Mhm.
how has it changed? Because indeed there is a lot of difference between professional creation and then something that the person is doing randomly, has not learned it, but the person has just practiced it by himself or just by watching on the YouTube. So what do you think, like how it has evolved, the art of uh, telling the stories, and that like how these ways have been changed?
Well, it's definitely technology has made a big change in what we do. I mean, like I said, it's like, you know, it cost a lot of money in what back in the day to be able to create a story, a visual story on film because of the expense. Most people didn't do it. Then, you know, eventually, you know, families got video cameras, you know, and the video cameras were the next step. You know, people made home movies on VHS tapes. And it was just, you know, seeing stuff around the house, seeing, you know, families, you know, having, you know, celebrating a birthday. And so they would videotape that. And then now we're here at this moment. We have cameras in our phones, we have cameras in our laptops, we have cameras on our tablets, and then we get editing these things. So we went from something that was almost distinct, separate entities of film, camera, putting on a thing and editing it. And now it's almost all in one. You can edit on the thing that you shot in. I mean, I have editing software on this, and I could edit on my phone if I wanted to. But the whole idea is like the technology allows you to have this immediacy. You could literally shoot something, put it, you know, cut out some things, add a title, and you have it on YouTube within 10 minutes after doing it. You could shoot a live. And a live, it's basically you're just shooting camera and moving around and talking about what you're doing, whatever it is that you're showing in the live. So the fact is that technology has made it so immediate that everyone is a filmmaker. I mean, what Andy Warhol said, everyone's famous for 15 minutes. I mean, now you could take that 15 minutes and do that every day if you wanted to. I mean, that's the magic of our technology nowadays. And the
Well,
fact that I'm talking to you, 15,000 miles away, and this is immediate. And the fact that you're recording it, people are going to see this. That's amazing. That was unheard of even like 10 years ago. Nobody thought of that.
Right. Perfect. This is something what interesting that you mentioned that 10 years ago there was nothing, I believe, something like this, that people could talk like this. Right now I am in India and you are in the in USA, so it wasn't possible until unless we had this technology, right? So this is
Yeah.
something more interesting into this, you know, while I'm talking about the storytelling. So the storytelling is like, see, right now, whatever we are doing, we are also, this is also the part of the storytelling. That's what we can say, right?
Mhm.
Awesome. So
Yeah.
the other question, I really would like to ask is, how has your experience been in this, in this journey of the, I would say, the filmmaking and the film producing?
Um, it's amazing. It's like that has changed, in a lot of ways too. It used to be like, everything but was in filmmaking was in bins. We had film strips that were like long pieces of plastic, and they'd be thousands and thousands of feet long. And you would have to go through with, you know, these things that would basically spin, these reels, and you would spin them, and they would you'd see that, and you would also have separately, the audio was separate, so you would have to sync the audio to the film, and so to be able to see, if you have sound in that thing, to be able to hear what people are saying. um when computers started to come into the fold, there were like, systems that were created where they would take the film that was shot, transfer it into a digital format, and you would edit that. Now it's all shot digitally. And the fact is that we changed from separate elements to one element. And it's all basically a file format that goes into your computer and gets spit out. And it could be a QuickTime, or it could be another file format that you're basically spitting out to broadcast to the world. So the technology for that has changed tremendously. The cost of it has changed tremendously. I mean, it used to be that a professional editing system, like even 20 years ago, was about $1 million to buy because of all the hardware and software that you needed for that. Now, if you have a computer and the software, you could edit your work for less than $1,000, and depending on what your computer costs. So that's a pretty major change. The fact is, even lighting used to be these big, heavy, glass, they were hot, they were heavy, they were expensive. Now you have these, LED lights that are like, they're like this big, that are as powerful as those big things that they used to have on sets. And that's and the prices for those are very cheap. You can get a lighting kit for like $200 that used to cost $10,000. So the technology has afforded us to do things cheaper and faster. And it's really, I mean, sometimes it's the key. It's like, it's better, faster, and cheaper. In this case, technology has made it all at the same time. So it's a powerful change that we're witnessing with all of this technology. And what hasn't changed is storytelling. You're still telling a story. You're still being able to give I mean, everyone has a story if they want it, if they can discover it. And so now that the idea that you could do this more immediately, you could tell this story more immediately visually than ever before. We're at this right age where it's like everyone could tell their story to the world and release it. And it's beautiful.
Awesome. So, as you were sharing that stories telling remains same, nonetheless, just what is changing, that is the technology and the tools that is being changed, right? So what are your views on these OTT platforms that is coming into the world, and that how do you used to, host your shows on the, I would say, on the channels earlier you used to do, but what is the role of these OTT channels that has come into the picture right now?
Well, I mean, for me, if I'm doing something professionally, these channels, they're like broadcast networks. So it's basically I'm doing it for, like, I'll do a show for Netflix. So everything is created for those shows. If I'm doing my own work, um, I have a YouTube channel. So I mean, which is allowed everyone to be their own broadcast company. All these little YouTube, and there are other platforms as well, Vimeo, Dropbox, and all that, where you could you have these your films, your private films, and you can broadcast to the world. Facebook, you can put your things on Facebook. I mean, it's basically those are your broadcast tools. And for me, if I'm doing something professionally, it's like I have a software right now. I'm working on one show. My computer is tied into a computer that's 600 miles away. All their footage and everything that they have for me to edit is there, though it was shot wherever. There was, like, the show that I'm working on, they shot it in Maryland. And the computer that is digitized is in Pennsylvania. And my house is here. So literally my house is 600 miles from the computer server that I'm working with. I'm editing it here. They look at it and we'll cut it together. We add music to it. We fix the color. We fix the audio, and it gets ready to go to, to air, to goes to the broadcast network. So what we do then is we'll take our finished piece, send that out, send out a movie, basically a QuickTime that's broadcast quality. That's a file that's probably a terabyte large, and that gets sent to the network, and they broadcast it, that way, which is different than what it was even 5 years ago. We used to send it on a tape. We used to put everything in a machine like this. It's a tape machine that, and you would send a tape to the network, and they would then broadcast it from their machines wherever their system is. Now it's like everything, because of remote, everything is remote, and it becomes, incumbent on the internet, basically, and just throwing these finished products to the world. For a home person, for a person that's doing their own project, it's basically the same thing. You're doing something at your computer, finishing it at your computer, spitting it out in a movie format, whatever that is, and you're broadcasting it on your whatever platform you're using. Like I said, like Facebook or YouTube, or whatever platform you want to show your piece on, and you're getting it out to the world. And so things have changed where it's like almost professional and non-professional. They're like almost working simultaneously. So it's almost like the profession has, like, the amateur and the professional have the same technology that we're using, and it's almost like we're creating it simultaneously, and it never was like that.
All right. So hearing
Yeah.
amazing insights about the Hollywood, and now, okay, let me ask you the question over here. That is, how many shows that you have shot and you have hosted so far?
That I've created. Oh my God, I've been working in this industry for 30 years, and my resume is 3 pages long. I would have to count how many. A few thousand, several thousand, shows I've done, and it's like even just episodes. Like one season I did. If I worked on a show for 5 seasons and there are 22 episodes a season, that's 110 episodes. So just one show would be 110 episodes. And I've done several hundred shows. And I've worked on films, same thing. I've worked on feature films. And, let's say I did 15, 20 of them. I worked on 15, 20 of them. So there's all these. So I thought, I mean, the experience is like it's pretty vast, and it goes from commercials to music videos to TV shows, scripted, non-scripted, to movies, also scripted and non-scripted. So it's like it's the gamut, and so like I said, it's a big number because I've been doing this for a long time. Um, but the whole idea is like, it's just to keep doing it. Really, I love doing this stuff, and I do this not only for people for pay, but I do it for myself, and
All
and
right.
enjoy it.
Exactly, it is something, it's nice to hear from you. Like you are somebody like an inspiration who just shared that uh, you do it because you like it, right? So I believe that is what the young people who are out there, they're watching, they should be doing what they love, and they can get paid obviously out of it. And this is something interesting, not to work at a place where you are being pressurized, you aren't learning anything, you are just having some negative stuff around you. So I strongly believe that is something what does not help us to grow, right?
Yeah,
So
I agree.
the last question I really would like to ask that request that what the advice that you would like to give to the young creators of this new era.
Um, you know what? You're going to do something. If you want to grow, you're going to do something that's going to be a little scary to you because it's like you've never done it before. And pick something that you want to do that excites you and scares you, because it's something that's going to help you grow into that person that you want to become. And fear is part of it. You're all going to be afraid because this is what's helping you grow. If it doesn't scare you, it means that it's not inspiring to you. If you want something that scares you and excites you, that's what you need to go for. And if you don't know how you're going to get there, that's even better because you're stretching yourself to push yourself to grow into this person that you want to become. And really, that's the important thing. You can create all these things for that are expressions of yourself, but you need to express yourself as you're growing because the universe is either expanding and growing or it's dying and disintegrating. It's happening everywhere. And so what you want to do is keep growing. If you look at everything in the world, I mean, a blade of grass grows through the pavement. So you walk down the street and there's grass growing out of the concrete. That's the universe pushing through that. That's because grass is going to keep growing whether you try to kill it or not. It's up to us to keep growing, whether people are trying to stop you or not. And if you believe in it and it excites you and it moves you, you're going to keep growing and working into something that's really pretty powerful because you're going to grow into something that's like eternal. And it's an amazing thing.
Awesome, awesome. So thank you so much for being over
Oh,
here
thank you.
on the show and inspiring the audience, sharing the views of yours on this, related to the storytelling that how one can keep their audience engaged through their content and sharing your experience related to the filmmaking and film producing. It was really amazing talking to you and indeed to the audience as well. Thank you for being over here. It really makes me feel motivated and it makes me more excited to come up with the more amazing sessions and with more amazing people like you over here. So thank you so much to my audience as well, to my
Thank you.
amazing guest as well. Right. So it was a pleasure talking to you.
It was great talking to you. Thank you so much. Great question.